All right, guys, let's wrap up tonight with the less fortunate NBA teams. With the Orlando talk on the mind, the 8 teams not invited, thanks to their records, have brought up a request for their own sort of bubble later this summer or fall. Those teams, of course, are the Hawks, Hornets, Bulls, Cavs, Pistons, Warriors, T-Wolves, and Knicks, and they all want in on an opportunity to hold training camps and summer league type games against other teams. The teams argue that it's unfair that the playoff teams are getting a disproportionate advantage over them and say it could be damaging to non-playoff teams to sit from March to December with no game-like action. The NBA is in discussions right now and has Chicago as a possible second bubble destination. Playoff teams have said it should be structured similar to their bubble, less the non-playoff teams get to make up their own rules, while the playoff teams are more restricted, like we just talked about. Likely a format would be team minicamps followed by some summer league 4 to 8 game type events. So, Drink, you like this idea of a second bubble, or is it a little unnecessary?
Hey, do something for me, Cody. Could you ramble off the name of those teams again?
I sure could. They are the Hawks, Hornets, Bulls, Cavs, Pistons, Warriors, T-Wolves, and Knicks.
You didn't name one team that we give a damn about seeing no more than we have to see.
That is correct, yes. I don't know. The Knicks would be kind of funny, but yeah.
This is unnecessary with a capital U. What normally happen when your team don't make the playoffs on a normal NBA season?
You go home.
You go home, and we never hear about you again until the next season, right? Well, hopefully, unless you're cutting up somewhere. But we don't hear from you again until the next NBA season. What would be the only team that got a legitimate gripe that you name would be the Warriors. Every other team, what is different from any other season they had in the last 5 years? Like, seriously. What Hawks, what are you talking? Really? We should have our own mother. What? Y'all always, you already at home during this time. What are we talking about? When the last time you ain't made the playoffs since Jeff Teague? What are you talking about? What, Al Horford? What
Mike Budenholzer.
Mike Budenholzer, you know what I'm saying? Hornets? Bulls? After the LeBron Cavs? Like, Timberwolves? Don't get me started on the Knicks. Like, okay, so this is one of those things like in college basketball, right? The NCAA got a tournament. So the guys that don't make the NCAA tournament, they need something to do too. Come on, guys. Everybody get a trophy. What a knee slapper. That's what this is, right? So you got 22 teams going down to Orlando. What about the rest of us? I want something to do. Let's start another bubble, right? In Chicago for the teams that nobody give a rat's ass about. NIT tournament. Call it what you want. NCAA tournament is happening in Orlando. NIT tournament possibly in Chicago. Oh, well, if you don't know, you know what? I ain't even gonna get into the scheduling. I don't want to take all the meat out the bones. I'll let Jay get into the scheduling. But listen, who gonna watch this? First of all, because if this is the main, so you're gonna have these games coming on, these Pac-12 games, right? And then you're gonna have these games going, and then you're gonna have the regular NBA playoff games going. Then you're gonna have college football possibly going. Then you're gonna have the NFL going. Then you're gonna have the meat of baseball season going. Probably you probably in the playoff time for the baseball season as well. And we out here watching the Cavs versus the Pistons? Really? With all that on TV, I'm gonna find time to watch the Timberwolves versus the Knicks. That's what I'm gonna do. Who the hell is asking for it? They need to put some names on this. I want to know the person that said we want our own bubble. We deserve to play. No one even care. You don't even care about the fact that you're not playing because you ain't been caring for the last 5 years. You've been at home for the last 5 years, and all of a sudden, oh, because of COVID, now we got a legitimate excuse why we should play, even though we weren't good enough to make the playoffs. Couldn't pull that last year. You can pull it now. And like I told Jay, I'm a big component in this. This is the year, if you want to pull some crap, this is the year to pull it. But these are one of the things, right? This, I can go without. Like, don't try this. Put this one back in the vault. Lock it back up. Change the pen. Lock it up. Like, we don't need this. No, this is irrelevant right here. Jay, when you make your point, if you can, prove me wrong and give me some relevancy to this. Tell me why this is relevant. Tell me why we need this. Because I don't see it. I mean, granted, I got on glasses for a reason. I don't see that well, but maybe you can help me see this because I don't see it. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. This is dumb. I'm not even going to get into the facts of this tournament because I think this is unnecessary and ridiculous. That's my opinion on it.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, your glasses are working fine. There's nothing you're missing in this point. But to humor you, I will tell you the reasoning, or maybe what they're at least trying to sell to the public. A lot of these teams are centered on young guys, and the idea of a layoff from March until, I don't know, December, which is the estimated time where the next regular season would get underway. Apparently that's too long a layoff for those guys. I don't buy that argument, but that is one of the things I'm reading, that maybe that's some of the thought process behind that. Because most of these teams all these teams are built around young guys. That's why they're bad. I would tell you one thing about good Lord, I don't think I can even stomach hearing Cody read off this list of teams again. They're that horrible. But I will tell you this thing: if this bubble happens, they better have some great facilities people, because there's going to be a lot of cleanup need to be done off these hardwood floors after the trash gets off the floor. There's going to be a lot of leftover trash on the floor that they're going to clean off. This is going to be some of the worst basketball you're ever going to see. I don't even know why. There's no need for this. We just had, 3/4 of a season where all these teams had opportunities to come out here and show us what you had. You guys couldn't even be. Think about this. They gave 22 out of the 30 teams got sent to Orlando. That's just about 3/4 of the league. You couldn't even be in the top 3/4 of the league. We already talking about there's teams in Orlando that are going to Orlando. They shouldn't even be going. You think the Wizards deserve to be in Orlando? The only reason the Wizards are down there is because they had to extend it out far enough to where, it don't even make no sense to have just 8 teams out east. We got to have one more in there, so our little 8-9 playoff thing can look kind of cool, which is just ridiculous. But no, this is so ridiculous. And you're absolutely right. And I brought this up earlier to you before the show. Whatever the motivation behind it, it ain't money, because this ain't a profitable idea. I mean, you're talking about doing this, I guess, in September when you would start this. And the NBA playoffs are going to be well underway. So you got that. You're going to have the NFL. Baseball is going to be going on. College football. No one's going to have time for this. And even if I did, I could find something better to do than watch these teams. I don't even want to watch these teams during the actual regular season. I mean, let me tell you, I'm going to look through this real quick just to make sure. Okay, Hawks, Hornets, Bulls, Cavs, Pistons, Warriors, T-Wolves, Knicks. God, that tasted so bad saying that again. I don't think I watched one of these teams. I think I watched the Warriors a few times just because they had booked the Warriors so many national TV games before everybody died. That's the only reason I even watched them. But no, you're absolutely right. This is terrible. It's not a good idea. And oh, by the way, why, if you wanted all 30 teams to participate, why didn't you just throw everybody in Orlando in one bubble? We don't even know now. We hope I'm optimistic. I think this is going to work. I got more faith in the players than Damian Lillard does. I think they'll abide by the rules as best they can within reason. I think they're going to take precautions and make sure that they're not spreading this disease around to everybody. But there is risk to this. There is risk to doing this first bubble, and we haven't even seen what that looks like yet. Why would you spend all this time devising another bubble when we have no evidence to show that the first one is going to work out? It makes little to no sense to me.
Look, listen, before you get on, Cody, Look, did you know what this reminds me of? This remind me of the guy or girl or woman, right? That goes to McDonald's, order that number one with extra mac sauce, get that old medium fry, but I gotta have that Diet Coke. It's just unnecessary. Unnecessary. What the hell that Diet Coke gonna do for you if you slopping down the Big Mac, that processed meat with extra salt on the fries? I'm just saying. That's what this reminds me of. Unnecessary.
Good idea for dinner after this. Anyway, yeah, what it really comes down to, if we were playing the devil's advocate thing, it's just that 30 or 22 teams got a competitive advantage, the other 8 didn't. That's really what it is. And the 18, because I don't think we've ever seen a league most leagues either all cancel or all restart, right? It's the NBA picked teams to restart, but then didn't let everybody restart. And that's that's the hang up. That's the difference, And while like Jay said, or one of y'all said, I don't think the time between March to December, the concern is that when this Orlando experiment ends, you have a month and a half. They want to start the new season on December 1st. There ain't going to be all this time for training camps, pre-camps, mini camps, summer league. That crap's all gone. I mean, it's going to be nothing but crickets until opening night. And these 8 teams are like, well, we don't want our players sitting around that long. That's why they're bringing this up. But the only way you can safely have something like this is a second bubble and a second thing. It ain't for money. I mean, what I've read, it's not money. It's just the teams that aren't in this want. They want to at least be afforded the same sort of chance that the 22 teams got, which, you could argue, well, you should have played better. You'd be in Orlando, but it is the NBA created the situation, like y'all said in the first place, by not just taking the playoff teams or not taking everybody, only taking some teams and leaving a few teams out in the cold. It does put them in an awkward spot. So I get it, but they're asking for a lot. I mean, a whole second bubble. I mean, the NBA is going to be spending millions a day on the Orlando bubble, and y'all want them to go do the same thing in Chicago for your sorry training camps. And we know none of the stars are going to be there. The Currys and Thompsons and your Karl-Anthony Towns and dudes, stuff like that, they ain't going to show up. They ain't going to play. Blake Griffin, none of these guys are showing up to play in this. So it's only going to be your summer league players that would play anyway. So, the
few established stars that these teams have.
Right. Besides the Warriors, which have been the asterisk in this whole thing, and we know what's going on with them. I mean, these other teams are just about sorry. So, I don't know. I get
games to be on an app somewhere, on some type of app.
So, that's another point. I don't even think, between ESPN, ABC, TNT, and NBA TV, there's not even gonna be room on the docket for these games to even be nationally.
They probably wouldn't be televised. I mean, if they would, they'd be like the summer league games would be, but just kind of like middle of the day type
Plus.
Thing. But you gotta think the Orlando games are gonna run all day, every day when they're on. They have so many teams and games to get through. So this would purely be for maintaining competitive fairness with all 30 teams, and not so much about money or anything else.
But absolutely, yeah. You don't even need to read nothing to figure this ain't about money. But wouldn't you agree that if the idea was, behind competitive balance and everybody should be able to, I don't know, maybe finish out this season, shouldn't they have just thrown everybody in Orlando?
You could make that argument. You absolutely could. They should have either taken all 30 or they should have left them out. But like I said, that's the problem is you only took some teams and you left this handful of teams out and gave them something the other teams didn't get. Because like I said, leagues start or they stop and they restart together. So this is a weird situation to begin with.
Because the NBA didn't care. They had the normal thinking that you normally have. We don't care about the teams that wasn't good enough. They didn't care. And I don't blame them.